Have you ever met someone who seems to live without fear? Someone who dives into life headfirst, never hesitating, never looking back? What if I told you that person might just be an Aries? Now, here's the shocking truth. Aries isn't just the first sign of the zodiac. It's the most misunderstood. People think Aries is only about fire, passion, and boldness. But the reality? It's much deeper than that. Aries holds powerful lessons about resilience, emotional honesty, and even how we protect our hearts after being hurt. Behind every impulsive decision, every brave action, there's a psychology, a hidden world of thoughts and emotions most people never see. So, let me ask you, have you ever wished you could be braver? More authentic? Or simply more honest with yourself and the people you love? In today's video, we're not just talking about Aries. We're exploring the secret strengths this zodiac sign hides, and how understanding Aries can change the way you see yourself. I promise, what you'll learn today will surprise you. And hey, if you're curious about astrology, psychology, and personal growth, hit that subscribe button. Like the video. Share it with a friend who might need this message. Ready to discover the truth about Aries? Let's begin. Have you ever faced a moment in life where everything felt overwhelming? A challenge so big that it seemed impossible to overcome? Most of us have. And most of us tend to doubt ourselves in those moments. But imagine, what if you could face life's storms the way an Aries does? Not by pretending the struggle isn't there, but by stepping into it with your head held high. Aries doesn't avoid pain. They don't deny hardship. They transform it. For them, every setback is a chance to prove that strength isn't just about winning. It's about refusing to surrender. It's about standing in the rain and saying, "I'm still here." That's the first secret behind Aries energy. True resilience isn't about survival. It's about empowerment. It's about learning that every scar is a story. Every failure is a lesson. Think back to the last time you felt defeated. Did you allow it to define you? Or did you, like Aries, decide to define yourself? Aries shows us that courage is not the absence of fear. It's the choice to act, even when fear is screaming in your ear. But there's another lesson hidden in Aries' heart. One that many people misunderstand. Aries is known for being blunt, honest, even harsh sometimes. And yet, their honesty is a gift. Think about how many times in life we sugarcoat the truth. We say what others want to hear. We stay silent to avoid conflict. But Aries? They speak. Not because they want to hurt, but because they believe truth is healing. Honesty is freedom. Their words might sting at first, but over time, you realize, those words helped you grow. Aries holds up a mirror to the people they love. They challenge you to see yourself clearly, without filters, without lies. And maybe that's exactly what you need. Have you ever caught yourself hiding your feelings? Saying, "I'm fine," when inside, you're falling apart? Aries doesn't play that game. They wear their heart on their sleeve. If they're hurt, you'll know. If they're angry, they'll tell you. And in a world full of masks, that kind of emotional honesty is rare. Refreshing. Even liberating. What if, just once, you let yourself be as honest as an Aries? What conversation have you been avoiding? What truth have you been too afraid to say? And when it comes to relationships, Aries teaches another powerful lesson. It's about boundaries. We've all been there, right? Holding on to people who hurt us. Letting past relationships control our present. Staying too close to someone just because we're afraid to let go. But Aries doesn't live like that. They know how to move on. Not out of coldness, but out of self-respect. They can wish an ex well and still walk away. They believe in kindness, but they also believe in protecting their heart. Aries understands that keeping emotional boundaries doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. Imagine this. You run into someone from your past. An ex who once broke your heart. What do? Do you smile politely and pretend nothing happened? Or do you, like Aries, acknowledge the past while keeping a respectful distance? Aries shows us that maturity is knowing when to let go. And that sometimes, loving yourself means choosing peace over history. But perhaps the most beautiful lesson Aries teaches is about connection. Not just romantic connection, but human connection. Friends. Family. The people who make life worth living. For Aries, an ideal day isn't about solitude. It's about togetherness. It's about laughing with friends until your sides hurt. Having deep conversations with people who see your soul. Sharing simple, quiet moments with those who make you feel at home. Aries thrives on connection. Not surface-level small talk, but real, meaningful bonds. In a world that often glorifies independence, Aries reminds us of something important. Life is better when it's shared. Love is stronger when it's expressed. And happiness? It's multiplied when we let others in. Think about your own life. When was the last time you sat with someone and really listened? When was the last time you told someone you loved them? Not because you had to, but because you felt it? Aries doesn't wait for the perfect moment to show affection. They create the moment. They understand that connection isn't something we find. It's something we nurture. Maybe that's the question we should ask ourselves today. Are we opening doors to real connection? Or are we closing them out of fear? Aries teaches us to choose vulnerability. To choose presence. To choose love. And as we continue this journey, remember, behind Aries' fire, behind their bold actions, there's a soul that craves depth, honesty, and connection. Lessons that all of us, no matter our sign, can carry into our own lives. So stay with me. Because what comes next might just change the way you see yourself, your relationships, and the hidden power that's already inside you. Have you ever felt stuck in life, like your days are just repeating without excitement? That feeling where everything feels too quiet, too safe, too predictable? Aries would tell you, that's not living. Aries doesn't settle for routine. They crave action. They need adventure like we need air. And maybe, deep down, you do too. Think about a time when you felt truly alive. Maybe it was trying something new. Taking a risk. Saying yes when everyone else said no. That's the Aries way. They remind us that life isn't meant to be a checklist. It's meant to be an experience. Aries teaches that passion isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. You might wonder why that matters. Why can't stability be enough? But here's the truth. Without moments of challenge, of unpredictability, of stepping into the unknown, our spirit shrinks. Our energy fades. Aries understands this instinctively. They push themselves to keep moving, to keep growing, to keep seeking the next horizon. And when you're around someone like that, it's contagious. You find yourself wanting more too. But chasing adventure doesn't mean recklessness. Aries knows how to channel that fire. They're not running from something. They're running towards something. That's the difference. And it's a lesson worth learning. Now, imagine this. You're having a conversation, and suddenly, someone snaps. Maybe over something small. A delay, a misunderstanding, a minor inconvenience. It surprises you. But for Aries, this is normal. Not because they're irrational, but because they feel everything deeply. When they care intensely. When something feels wrong, they can't ignore it. That burst of anger? It's honesty, not hostility. Aries doesn't bottle emotions. They don't wear polite masks when something hurts or frustrates them. They speak up. They react. And while that can feel overwhelming, it's actually a gift. Think about how much passive aggression exists around us. Silent treatments. Hidden resentments. Fake smiles. Aries rejects all of that. They'd rather tell you they're upset than pretend everything's fine. The lesson here is powerful. Emotional honesty builds real relationships. It opens doors to understanding, even if the conversation feels uncomfortable at first. Aries shows us that expressing anger isn't weakness. It's a step toward clarity. A step toward being understood. And when someone listens, really listens, that fiery anger can become a bridge, not a wall. Of course, that emotional strength doesn't always come without pain. There's something Aries rarely shows. When someone betrays them, when someone they trust lets them down, Aries hurts deeply. But you won't always see it. They don't want you to see it. Aries hides their vulnerability like a warrior hiding their wounds. Think about the last time you felt betrayed. Did you let it show? Or did you, like Aries, build walls to protect yourself? This is where Aries teaches a lesson many people miss. Strength isn't about showing how hurt you are. Sometimes, it's about holding yourself together when everything inside feels broken. Aries doesn't deny the pain. They just choose to face it alone. Behind closed doors. Where no one can mistake vulnerability for weakness. They believe that healing is personal. Private. And that letting go of betrayal means refusing to let it define who they are. But maybe you've seen another side of Aries too. The side that fights for love, even across distance. Long-distance relationships are hard. Everyone knows that. But Aries doesn't give up just because someone is far away. For them, love isn't measured in miles. It's measured in effort. They send that message. They make that late-night call. They remind their partner, even from across the world, that they're present. Committed. Passionate. Their loyalty doesn't weaken when physical connection disappears. If anything, it grows stronger. Aries sees love as a choice you make every day. No matter where life places you. And isn't that a lesson we all need? That real love isn't passive. It's not waiting for perfect circumstances. It's about showing up. Again and again. Even when the odds are against you. Even when doubt creeps in. Aries teaches us that love isn't something you fall into. It's something you fight for. And maybe right now, someone watching this video is in a long-distance relationship. Wondering if it's worth it. If you're that person, remember, love is never about proximity. It's about presence. Emotional presence. And choosing to keep the connection alive. Even when life tries to pull you apart. As you can see, Aries isn't just a sign of fire and action. Beneath that bold exterior lies depth. Vulnerability. And a heart that burns with loyalty and love. But what comes next is even more surprising. Because in the final chapters of this journey, we'll uncover how Aries uses boundaries, affection, and the power of simplicity to shape their relationships, and why their deepest secrets may also be their most misunderstood truths. Stay with me. The final 3 insights might just change everything you thought you knew about Aries, and about yourself. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to carry a sweetness that feels real? Not forced? The kind of warmth that makes you feel safe, even when no words are spoken. That's something Aries understands deeply. Even though they are known for their fire, their speed, their courage, what people often overlook is their gentle side. Aries isn't just bold in battle. They are soft where it matters most. You see it in the way they treat their loved ones. Not just their partners, but their friends, their family, those who matter. Aries doesn't hold back affection. They don't play games when it comes to expressing care. If they love you, you'll know. Not because they say it in grand speeches, but because they show it in small, daily acts. A supportive message when you're feeling low. A protective hand when you're unsure. A simple "I'm here" that means more than 1,000 promises. This is what makes Aries special. Their love isn't reserved for special occasions. It flows naturally, every day. Like breathing. They remind us that expressing love doesn't have to be complicated. It just needs to be real. Maybe that's something we forget in today's world. Maybe we've learned to guard our hearts too tightly. To save our affection for the right moment that never comes. Aries teaches that love should be shared now, without hesitation. And when it comes to desire, Aries carries another secret. It's not enough for them to simply feel affection. They want to be inspired. They want to be challenged. They want to feel alive. That's why competition isn't just a game for them. It's a form of connection. When you create an environment where Aries can test their limits, where they can strive, where they can push and be pushed, you're speaking directly to their soul. Imagine an Aries walking into a room. What do they notice first? The energy. The challenge. The potential to prove themselves. Not because they need to win over others, but because they need to win over their own doubts. Aries thrives when they're challenged to become better. And strangely enough, that's what draws them to people. Not comfort. Not passivity. But those who awaken their competitive spirit. Who push them to grow. This drive isn't about arrogance. It's about the hunger to evolve. Aries invites us to ask ourselves, when was the last time we allowed ourselves to be pushed? To be inspired? To fight not against life, but for the life we want? Perhaps competition isn't about defeating others. Perhaps, like Aries shows us, it's about confronting our own limits and breaking them down, step by step. But with all this hunger for success, for standing out, Aries also carries a deeper truth. They refuse to settle. Good enough is never enough for them. Being just another name in the crowd doesn't satisfy their soul. They carry an inner fire that tells them they were meant for more. To lead. To shine. To make a mark. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself to just blend in, to avoid drawing attention, to take the safe path? Aries doesn't understand that. They chase excellence, not because the world demands it, but because their soul does. They believe in standing out. In rising above mediocrity. And when you're around someone like that, you start to believe you can rise too. Aries pushes us to ask, what dream did we bury just to feel safe? What ambition did we silence because we were afraid of failure? Aries doesn't fear failing. They fear standing still. And maybe we should too. But here's the paradox. Aries' strength can sometimes become their weakness. Their determination, their focus, their relentless pursuit of what they believe in, can harden into stubbornness. Once they've decided on something, changing their mind can feel impossible. To outsiders, this can seem difficult, frustrating, even exhausting. But to Aries, it's not stubbornness. It's loyalty to their own vision. It's commitment to their inner truth. When they set their heart on a goal, on a belief, on a path, they trust themselves completely. And maybe that's a lesson in itself. Because how often do we abandon our plans the moment doubt appears? How often do we let others sway us from our dreams? Aries shows us the power of persistence. That sometimes, staying the course, even when others question you, is the only way to truly succeed. Of course, like all strengths, this needs balance. Aries has to learn that changing direction isn't weakness. It's wisdom. And for the rest of us? We need to remember that some mountains are worth climbing, no matter how steep they look. And as we reach this part of the journey, it's clear that Aries isn't just a sign of action. It's a sign of heart, of passion, of unwavering belief in oneself. They remind us to love without fear, to fight for growth, to stand proud in our authenticity. But what if I told you, the most profound truths about Aries are still ahead? Because in the final 3 lessons, we'll explore the quiet side of Aries. The side most people never see. Their raw vulnerability, their need for respect, and their complex approach to love and intimacy. Stay with me. The final insights might just be the most controversial and the most revealing of all. Have you ever noticed that Aries loves deeply, but not just with their partner? Their affection expands far beyond romantic love. It reaches friends, family, even people they've just met, if the connection feels right. Aries doesn't limit their kindness to certain categories of people. They don't wait for labels before offering their loyalty and warmth. To Aries, love is about energy. If you give them trust, they'll return it tenfold. If you show them honesty, they'll open their heart to you. And when you become part of their world, they'll protect you as if you've always belonged. Think about your closest relationships. Do you hold back your affection? Do you wait for people to earn it through years of shared memories? Aries reminds us that love doesn't have to be earned like a prize. It can simply be given, without hesitation, when the heart recognizes something true. They're not afraid to be the first to say, "I care about you." And maybe, neither should we. Now, here's something most people don't realize about Aries. They're not just lovers of connection. They're lovers of challenge. For Aries, passion isn't about quiet dinners and soft whispers. It's about excitement, movement, action. Aries is drawn to people who spark their competitive fire. Not because they want to dominate others, but because competition helps them feel alive. It's how they measure their own growth. Imagine trying to win the affection of an Aries. It's not about buying flowers or reciting poetry. It's about creating moments where they feel challenged, where they feel inspired to prove something to themselves. It could be a simple game, a spontaneous debate, a shared project that pushes both of you outside your comfort zones. That's how you attract their heart. By speaking to their need for growth, for motion, for constant improvement. Aries thrives in environments where they can rise above yesterday's version of themselves. They don't seek comfort. They seek evolution. And that's a lesson for all of us. Are we building lives that push us forward? Or are we settling for what feels easy and safe? This drive to excel touches every part of Aries' life. They don't like blending in. They don't like being just another face in the crowd. Deep inside, they believe they're meant for more. Not out of arrogance, but out of a powerful sense of purpose. Aries wakes up every day with one silent question in their mind: how can I become better than I was yesterday? This mindset isn't about competing with others. It's about competing with the person in the mirror. Aries doesn't settle for average. They work harder, dream bigger. And when failure comes, which it always does, they stand back up, hungrier than before. Because for Aries, failure isn't the end. It's proof that they're still climbing. And yet, this relentless drive brings a challenge. Aries can become so locked into their goals, so sure of their vision, that they forget to listen. Once they've decided something, changing their path feels impossible. Their determination, their loyalty to their own ideas, can harden into stubbornness. To outsiders, it may seem like arrogance. But to Aries, it's conviction. It's standing firm when the world tries to pull them in different directions. This can be both their strength and their struggle. Because while stubbornness helps Aries achieve the impossible, it can also close doors to advice, to new perspectives, to growth they didn't expect. Sometimes, Aries needs to remember that letting go isn't weakness. It's wisdom. Changing your mind doesn't mean betraying yourself. It means evolving. But if you look closely, you'll realize Aries' stubbornness isn't about ego. It's about trust. They trust themselves so deeply that they fear losing that inner compass. And maybe that's something we can all learn from. Trusting ourselves more. Believing that our path, even when rocky, is still worth following. So, as you reflect on your own life, ask yourself, when was the last time you fought for your dreams with that level of stubborn passion? And when was the last time you allowed yourself the grace to change course when needed? Aries teaches both. To push. To persevere. But also, to pause. To reevaluate. To trust that adapting is part of becoming stronger. And now, as we move toward the final part of this journey, get ready. Because the last 3 lessons are not what you expect. They reveal Aries' deepest vulnerabilities, their hidden fears, and their most controversial truths about love, respect, and intimacy. Stay with me. You won't want to miss what's coming next. There's something about Aries that people often misunderstand. On the surface, they seem bold, strong, unafraid to chase what they want. But when you look deeper, you'll find a side of them that surprises most people. Aries values respect more than admiration. They don't need you to praise them. They don't want people pretending to be impressed. What Aries truly needs is respect. Real, genuine respect. They expect you to treat them fairly, to speak to them honestly, to never assume that they owe you their time or attention. Aries can feel it when someone approaches them with entitlement. They'll pull away instantly. Not because they're cold, but because they know their worth. They've spent too long building themselves to let someone walk in and take them for granted. Think about your own relationships. Have you ever felt drained because someone assumed your time belonged to them? Have you felt unappreciated? Aries doesn't tolerate that. And maybe neither should you. What Aries teaches us here is to set standards. To expect respect, not just affection. Because love without respect isn't real. Friendship without respect isn't real. And any connection that doesn't honor your boundaries will only break you in the end. But now, we reach one of the most complex sides of Aries. Their relationship with love. With intimacy. With physical connection. Aries is passionate. There's no denying that. They love fully, intensely, sometimes recklessly. But there's something deeper happening beneath the surface. When Aries is in love, true love, everything changes. Physical closeness becomes more than desire. It becomes a bridge. A way to feel emotionally safe. Connected. Whole. With someone they truly love. Aries reveals their most vulnerable side. Their need to be seen. To be understood. To let down the armor they wear every day. Yet, when Aries is not committed, when their heart isn't involved, they're not afraid to explore passion for passion's sake. To them, physical connection is natural. Human. Not something that needs to be judged or feared. They don't carry guilt for living fully. For embracing the moment. For seeking what makes them feel alive. But don't mistake this freedom for emptiness. Aries knows the difference between touch and connection. Between a fleeting encounter and a deep bond. And when they choose you, when they choose to share not just their body, but their soul, that's when you've truly found your place in their world. And perhaps this is the greatest lesson Aries offers. To embrace passion without shame. To love without fear. To seek connection that awakens the heart, not just the senses. So, what does all of this mean for us? Maybe Aries isn't here to teach us how to be perfect. Maybe they're here to show us how to be real. To be bold enough to speak our truth. Strong enough to face our pain. Brave enough to choose love, even when it's terrifying. At their core, Aries isn't just a fire sign. They are a lesson. A reminder. That life isn't something you wait for. It's something you create. One honest word. One brave action. one fearless choice at a time. And now, as we close this journey together, I want to leave you with a thought. What part of Aries lives in you? What truth have you been hiding? What risk are you afraid to take? Maybe today, it's time to stop waiting. If this video made you feel something, if you saw a piece of yourself here, consider subscribing to this channel. It helps more than you know. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it with them. Sometimes, one video is all it takes to spark change. And remember, this is just the beginning. There are so many stories still to tell. So many signs to explore. So many secrets to uncover about yourself and the people you love. I'll see you in the next video.